Well, we're nearing the holiday season, so I thought it would be fun to do a series of holiday-related projects. And so this week we are going to make gingerbread houses. Now, I'm not very good with gingerbread houses when I'm actually trying to bake one, decorate one, but I am much better at just drawing and painting one. So that's what we'll do. So our supply list is we need a brown paper bag, just regular lunch bag. And we're going to work with it on the side that doesn't have the seam in the back, if you can see that. Okay. We need a white piece of paper that can handle watercolors. We need a ruler. We need some paint brushes, a bowl of water, paper toweling, colored pencils. Now, if you would like, you can use crayons. I'm choosing to use the colored pencils because we can get finer lines there. So I think that's all we need. I'm going to set my background because our first thing that we're going to work on is the gingerbread house. So I'm going to set the background off to the side. Okay. Now, what we want to do is use the brown paper bag as a guide for us, but your ruler will also help you. So we're going to, on this fold down here, we're going to make a straight line. And then just on the inside of that edge, we're going to make another one. And let's first put a little line here and a little line here, just straight across. You can use your, and then we're going to put a dot up near the top in the center. And you can kind of eyeball that by using that back seam, okay? And then we're going to move this around and do this side. And then we're going to connect the dots here. And connect the dots here. Okay, just want to make sure that you can see my dots. Okay. Okay. So now you can continue to use your ruler to draw the roof. Okay, so again, this is art class, so you can decorate your gingerbread house however you want. I'm going to give it a chimney. So now we've got a roof line and the outside of a chimney. Going to do some decorations in here. We need a door. And I'm going to do the outline of windows, and then I'll be done using my ruler. And seriously, you don't have to use your ruler for any of this. You can freehand it. You can do different shaped windows. You can do like a little curved on the top of the door. I'm just showing you the basics. You can make it as fancy as you want. You can put the door off to the side if you want, with just one window here. And then I'm going to put a window up here. Make it taller and skinnier. Okay, so I've got the basics here. Sorry, I've got dirty fingernails here. I have been doing a lot of artwork, and so therefore my clothes and my fingernails and my skin, they're kind of a mess today. So I'm going to do some window frames. And this is an old-fashioned window, so they're going to have multiple panes. You can put shutters on them. You can put draperies at the window. Okay, so gingerbreads usually have a lot of scallops on them, right? So I'm going to do a scallop design. On coming down off the roof line. Do another series of scallops going across. Now, if your pencil is getting dull, make sure that you get it sharpened so that you have a pretty good point on it. And then, just because you can never have too many scallops, I'm going to put it around the door too. Doorknob, and then I'm going to make it into kind of a wood paneled door, and I don't care if these are a little wavy, so I don't need to use my ruler. Okay, so I want to give it a brick look on the chimney, and to do that you just do a series of horizontal lines, and then you do vertical lines for the bricks. Okay, so I'm going to keep mine pretty simple just for illustration's sake. And for time's sake, if you have more time to work on yours, then, feel free to spend as much time as you would like. I am also going to put some evergreens trees or bushes, since they're smaller scale. trunk. Okay, so we have our basic. So now lines drawn. So now we're going to start decorating, right? Oh, that's a pink. I don't want a pink. I was going for a red. There's my red. So I'm going to color in the scallops with my red. We're not going to be using watercolor on this house at all because this brown paper won't hold up to it. But we will be watercoloring the background and then gluing our house onto the background. Going to pull my white out and give this the idea that there's some snow on the roof. I'm going to reverse my design a little bit here and do white scallops and then red in the other space. Now, again, if your hands get tired, your arm gets tired, make sure that you take a break. Stretch out your hands. Okay. And I think I'm going to find a dark blue for the windows. I was initially thinking I would do them in green, but then I realized if I've got trees here, I don't want too much green. So your art projects can, you know, kind of just naturally evolve as you see how it's working out, how the colors and the shapes are all working together. Sometimes you just need to stop for about 30 seconds and just look at it and think about what should come next. Need a little thicker frame on this. Okay, so I want kind of a brick red brown for the chimney. Then in some of the spaces that I left, I'm going to put some white so it looks a little bit like it's got some snow on there. And then I'm going to do a little bit of white on here to make it look like it's got some snow on the window panes. Okay, so now we're back to scallops down here. I think I'm pretty happy with the way the top of the house is looking. go with kind of a gold door. And then I'm just going to put just a little bit of white on the top scallops. To suggest some snow on top of the door as well. All right. Let's see. Now I need some dark green. We'll work on the trees. You don't have to do it solid because guess what? We're going to put some snow on there. You can decorate them with lights if you want. Add some white over the top of that. And then we'll do our trunks. All right, so we're done with our coloring our house. Now that we have our house done, what we want to do is cut it out with our scissors. And then we'll be able to separate our layers of paper when we cut the sides here. All right. So we'll move all of our scraps off to the side. And here is our house. Okay, now what we want to do is grab our background paper and we're going to make it landscape, so wide and short. And then we're going to kind of center the house where we want it, and with a pencil we're going to make just a little mark where the top of the roof and kind of at the corners of it. And we're going to do that because we need to take this off to the side as well so that we can work on our background. Okay, so imagine our house is going to be in the center here, and you can design whatever background you would like, okay? And I would suggest that you draw it with regular pencil and then trace it with, you can use different colors of colored pencils, whatever you want. So let's do, for example, I'm going to do just a simple triangle Christmas tree here. And then for the trunk, I'm not going to fill this in because I'm going to paint this, but I will do the trunk, and then I'm going to use the gold for a star. And actually I might outline that with my black, since the gold's kind of light. Okay, and then I'm going to put a couple of other trees. Again, you can put snow people, you can put trees. It really is whatever you would like to have as the setting for your gingerbread house. So you can shut the videotape off if you would like to kind of think about it and then execute it. And then you can come back to the tape when you are ready to paint. Now I have some pencil lines here that I'm going to erase as I go along, just to clean it up. Try to, with your regular pencil, try to draw it as lightly as you can. Okay, so I'm going to make this into a big lollipop, just using a spiral kind of shape. Again, I'm going to get rid of my pencil marks. And then I'm going to make these be like gumdrops. And I think I'll outline them all in the same color and then make the candy itself different colors with my watercolor. So this will end up being the walkway up to the house. Kind of like that. And then I'm going to put a candy cane over here. So we'll make it red and white. And I'm making my stripes curved so it looks like it's a nice rounded piece of candy. Okay, so I'm going to see how I'm liking that. Okay, and then I think I will take some gray and I'm going to do some swirls, and this will be painted blue, but we'll have some swirls going around, kind of like it's the wind. Also gives it the background a little more of a fanciful feel to it. There. Do a little more cleanup. Okay, and then I'm going to put this here again just to make sure that I like my composition and it lines up all right. I'll erase my lines that might be showing, my little dots. Okay, perfect. Our next step will then be to get out our watercolors and start painting the background. Now we're ready to watercolor the background, and so I'm going to start with the trees and the gumdrops, and then we'll do the back. I'm thinking I'm going to leave this white down here because it's snow, right? So let's pick a nice green. And we'll get started on the trees. Now when this dries, you can go back over it with your pencils and put little lights on it if you'd like. And then we'll come over here and do these trees. I did the shape of these trees different from the ones that are on the gingerbread house just because I wanted it to be a little bit of a difference between the background and the house. But you can do whatever shape you want and whatever color you want. Now I'm going to make this tree a little darker green, which means that I'm not going to use as much water. Now the pencil that I used to outline this is a little more of a yellow green. This is more of a blue green, but that's okay. It gives it a nice visual difference, I think. Okay, now I'm going to use a nice bright yellow for my star. Still had a little bit of green in there. Guess I didn't get my brush cleaned out quite as much as I should have. So, and if that happens to you, all you need to do is take your piece of paper toweling and wipe off your paint. Now I'm going to do the trunk. Now I'm going to get a slightly smaller brush. my lollipop. You'll see how the pencil, if you don't get too much water on it, it shows right through. Now I'll work on my stripes on the candy cane. And if you're painting along and you have some other ideas on things you want to add to your background, like you could have a mailbox for Christmas letters. Like I said before, you could put a snowman on here. I didn't put very much water on this red at all so that it would really pop out and look like a candy cane. Now we have the gumdrops to do, and I'm going to use my smaller paintbrush, and I'm going to make them different colors. I like that purple, so I think I'll do 2. It shows up nicely. Okay, I'm going to pick up a slightly larger brush, and I think I'm going to paint this a gray. So it's kind of like a sidewalk. And I'm going to paint it up a little bit higher into the area where the house is actually going to be. So we want it to kind of disappear underneath where the house is, or will be. All right, there, we've got that. Okay, and now I'm going to turn it around upside down because we're going to be painting the blue sky. I'm going to use a medium brush to get up close to the trees and things. And I do plan on leaving some white around just to give it the sense that it's snowing out. Okay, so it's going to be kind of not touching all of the trees, right? I'll feather that out a little bit more. Just to have some white, sort of like the snow swirling around. And just like we did with the sidewalk, I'm going to paint the blue well into where the house will be glued. So we're sort of messy painting up here. Like it's windy and there's snow blowing around. You can have your brush strokes and go in where the roof is going to be too. If you see places where it's like a little too abrupt, or there's sort of a line that you don't like, you can go over it with a wet brush and a little paint, and that will be fine. Okay, so I think we're done with the painting. You can do other experimentations up here if you want. I'm cleaning it up a little bit more. And then I'm going to, before gluing, I'm going to make sure that everything, yep, see my marks up here are going to show, so I want to get rid of those. I might have to go over it with some paint. Right. Okay, so I'm going to set this over to dry a little bit. Now this paper is thin enough that I think that a glue stick will work the best. But if you don't have a glue stick, you can go ahead and use a regular jar or bottle of glue. Just don't overdo it with the glue, or it's going to, the paper is thin enough that it will end up wrinkling when you turn it over and glue it on, okay? So we'll give that a try. We're assuming that this is pretty much dry. Kind of line it up, work from the outside, from the inside out, excuse me. And then we're going to have to touch it up in places and press it down. You want them to be good and flat, just like we've done in the past. You might want to put it under a book to make everything nice and flat. There we go. Press it down. All right. So now we have some holiday decorations for your room, or we can start getting into the spirit of it all. All right. Thank you very much.